That's the bread and butter. Communities need to support them, be informed about them, and not just be told by the government and corporate backers, ready or not, here we come. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who's up for re-election, has apparently learned that lesson. Last year, he was dubbing his state the epicenter of AI development. Now he's pumping the brakes on this supercharged expansion, laying out new requirements for future projects related to water usage, electricity demand, and costs, and overall community approval.
They didn't do their job to get the support of people in local communities. Because they did not do that, that's why I am now coming in as governor saying, listen, if you're a data center and you want to operate in Texas, you have to first get the approval of those in local communities. They pop up in places that nobody ever heard of before until they started the construction. And so they had not been working in collaboration with the state. They'd not been working in collaboration with local governments. And so they basically dug their own grave for the problem that's been caused for them, and that's why they got the backlash they deserve.
As Texas Congressman Chip Roy puts it, Americans want to stop being told what to do by government and corporate, shall we say, jerks, who say, just trust us. They don't and shouldn't. He joins us now. Congressman Chip Roy, nice to see you tonight. I think the trust issue is the issue. The reservoir of goodwill that Americans have for big tech is almost empty. So when they're told, you gotta do it, trust us, a lot of them are saying, we don't. Congressman.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, look, I watch with amusement, right? I'm a proud Texan dating back to the 1850s, but I happened to go to high school in Loudoun County. And you just use that as an example, right, of how great it is, all the data centers. Well, you remember just what just happened in Loudoun County with Scott Smith and the crazy school boards there and all of the crazy radical leftists that have taken over Loudoun County, a once vibrant farming community that has now been taken over. Look, I see all these people criticizing those raising concerns, and they mock them. They make fun of them. They call them a bunch of rednecks and that they're somehow not wanting to be with the new technology. They say, oh, you'll be left with the Dollar General store and some vape shops. What they leave out is the Hindu temple and the mosque and a couple of new restaurants with some crazy food that are going to be there, because they're not going to be hiring people for a long time. They're importing people with H-1Bs. They're using all of this to try to get people to say, hey, this is the future. You got to do it because of China. And you say, yes, I know. We need to have technology. But when you come in and you were the same guys that were spying on Americans, lying about it, you were lying about the president, you were using technology against us, and you're the same people that bought COVID hook, line, and sinker, and now you want to come in and say, trust you. Forgive me. And by the way, I have a master's in management information systems. I love technology. It's not about that. And by the way, when I crisscross Texas, it's not about people not wanting technology. But I will say one more point. You got a lot of parents out there saying, what am I investing in? You're putting a big concrete box outside of my town. You might blow up the night sky. You're going to impact my water and electricity. And all for what? So my kids can be staring at pornography, have sports betting put right in front of them, have their entire world be glued to a screen that's addictive? Is that the kind of culture? Is that the society that we want? Or do people want to get back to talking to each other, going to church, having communication, having community, seeing their family? And I think there's a lot of this going on where people want to know that these are tools. They're not takeover of their very lives.
You're making a really, really big civilizational point. And that is a big point, but I do think you're onto something, because we've gone through kind of this whole social media thing, and that's sort of 1.0 of big tech reinventing the world. And what did we get from it, right? So now we're saying data centers are 2.0 of reinventing the world. I also know you've said you're not anti-profit, you're not anti-innovation, right? So we got to find a way where you get the good stuff, but you also learn what the bad stuff could be. Congressman, how do you want to see this play out? Do you want to see like the Greg Abbott approach? Do you want to see something different? What do you want to see?
Well, first of all, getting communities to be able to have a say in what's happening is really important. Governor Abbott taking action here in Texas to say that we're going to consult with communities. They're going to have a say. We're going to make sure power and water are being taken care of by the tech centers. That's a good starting place. I think we need to have a serious conversation in Washington among national leaders about what the guardrails are going to be when we talk about artificial intelligence, how it can be used to target our kids, not allowing them to have chat bots telling our kids that they should commit suicide or be on fentanyl or all these crazy things. We need to have a serious conversation about who are we? Who's running society? We can do what we need to do to beat China. We can do what we need to do to have tech. But we also need to remember that freedom matters, family matters, community matters. Flock cameras is a whole nother debate for a whole nother day. But that's another problem. You start scanning license plates, everybody says, yes, but go get the criminals. I'm also a former federal prosecutor. I want to put bad guys in jail, but I don't want a surveillance state that's straight out of 1984. Average Americans, average Texans are pushing back. The governor's listening. Politicians need to listen. And if you want to be politically successful, start with the Constitution, start with freedom, start with family, and make these things tools, not a takeover of our lives.
We're going to be talking flock cameras, data centers till kingdom comes, because I do think it's as big of an issue as you say. And you're right. Like, if you lose freedom, liberty, community, family, and you beat China, what have you really won in the end? So it's a good conversation. Congressman Chip Roy, always great to talk to you. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, guys.
All right.